So far, we've reviewed how communication, both good and bad, can affect a church's parish, as well as how the roles and responsibilities of church leadership is to guide its staff toward effective communication. So how does a church communicate? There are three main methods of communication in a church: print, digital communication, and of course, live interaction. And all three can fall prey to their own inefficiencies. The most common form of printed communication is a local church bulletin. This publication can house a lot of information and range anywhere from 4 to 8 pages. Staff contact details, life events, such as births, weddings, or deaths. Social events, such as weekly bingo or a holiday supper. Mass schedules, confession schedules, advertisements. This is just to name a few. In an article by Rich Birch entitled 15 Lessons from 17 Different Church Bulletins, he found that larger parishes tend to have smaller bulletins, while smaller churches have larger bulletins. This is due in part to some of those smaller congregations resisting the shift to social media and digital communication. Therefore, they need to cram all of their church's information into those printed pages. How that's inefficient is that Mr. Birch also found that only a small group of people in a parish are interested in only a select few pieces of that information. Therefore, the publication is not being read front to back. So this brings us to social media. As stated in the Pope's 2009 message from the 48th Annual World Communication Day event, Roman Catholics can no longer resist this technological shift in communication to digital communication, but should rather embrace it as a challenge and an opportunity for parish growth. But even this form of communication has its pitfalls. With young millennials starting families and looking for religious enrichment in their lives, they're turning to websites and social media to find an organization. As stated by Jonathan Howe in an article excerpt from thomasrainer.com, most common errors on websites, on church websites, are improper hashtag use, poor grammar, and unanswered questions. This is a big deterrent for these young millennials and can easily send them to the parish down the road who may offer more advancements in this space. Next, we move to live communication. In an article published by the Malthus Group, it states that effective communication from the pulpit encourages growth and unity amongst a congregation. Therefore, despite years of seminary study and training, when church leaders emerge as poor communicators, they can have negative effect on the spiritual growth of an entire parish. Another inefficiency in this space is missing the mark on multi-generational messaging. For a sermon to be effective, one must be able to articulate that message as it relates to anyone in the congregation and not just a select few. So we've covered a large amount of information in a small amount of time. So not only just to recap our different methods of communication, being print, social media, and live communication, and the impacts that that can have on a congregation, we offer you a potential challenge. The next time you're at a service, or if you're looking for a congregation to join of your own, ask yourself these questions. Does this organization have a local bulletin? Do they offer weekly services? Is there a social website? If you've answered yes to even one of those questions, do your own research. Look at those publications, look at those forms of communication. How do you find them effective or ineffective? and let your voice be heard. Share your thoughts with your local church and have some say in the spiritual growth of yourself as well as the church community as a whole. Thank you.